7-step action plan for you to set proper and realistic goals. Because everywhere on social media you see unrealistic goals, unrealistic expectations. It creates a fear of motivation. Motivation just gets killed instantly. Procrastination, you want to do it, but you're just getting distracted, or even finding the time. And in order to prevent this, I've created a 7-step action plan that will make sure that you will reach your goals if you just stick to them. So, the first point is setting too many goals. If there's one thing I learned, you do not need thousands of goals in your life. You just need a few, and those few are needed to be done in a certain deadline, a certain time frame. So avoid setting too many goals. Most of you, and I will draw it, if I look at colleagues, friends, or families, they have at least at least 10 to 12 goals alone. And they want to do it in 1 week. Just avoid setting this much goals in a certain time frame. If you say I want to reach 10 goals in 5 years, it's doable, but avoid setting too many goals in a certain time frame. This will kill your motivation and it will increase your procrastination. Second point is having unrealistic goals. And it's actually a showcase of here. Your goal is 10 to 12 goals in 1 week. Where are you going to find the time? So you need at least, if you do the math, you need to do between 1 and 2 goals every day. I hope that those goals are cleaning the dishes. Because if it is, I want to run a marathon in a week, you can see how unrealistic is that. So what do you need to do? First of all, think, what is my goal going to be? So if it is run a marathon, so if one goal of yours is run a marathon, what's a proper timeline? If you train 3 times a week, I say 1 to 1.5 years to run a marathon fully. It's a realistic example of a goal. But it also is a big goal. So for a big goal, you need a longer amount of time. If it's a smaller goal, like I want to run 5 kilometers, you can say I want to do it in 1 month. The bigger it gets, the more time you're going to need. And think of everything. If it is I want to reach 10k a month. First of all, think, how are you going to do that? But more importantly, how realistic is your time frame? That's the problem with this that people make in setting unrealistic goals. Do not make it big. Do not overestimate it. Do not set a time frame for this for 4 years. What are you going to do in that 4 years? It won't help with your motivation. It won't help with your discipline. So set a proper time frame. What is realistic? So we get into point number 3. Make an action plan for each goal. And I've actually said it a little bit. If you want to make 10,000 a month, how are you going to do that? What are you going to offer to someone that makes you that kind of money? Make a plan for something. So, if you want to lose body fat, how are you going to do that? Do some research in it. So, how are you going to lose the body fat? So, what is therefore needed? Well, you need to exercise, but more importantly, your food choice. That kind of questions you need to ask yourself in order to know it. Because otherwise, you're going blind into something. It's like walking blind. You're just going somewhere and you don't know what you're going to face. And of course, there are some obstacles that you need to face and overcome. But the more prepared you are, the better it will be. That's the important part. So therefore, make a concrete action plan and how are you going to do it. You do not say to a boss, in a month I will be running this place. He will ask you the same question. How are you going to do that? You will get laughed. Avoid that. Make a concrete plan for everything. If you want to buy a house 2025, 2026, make a plan. How am I going to afford this house? And the more prepared you are, the better it will be. The better the experience will be, but more importantly, the easier it will be to reach your goal. So the fourth one, and it's a must do, learn to do this, please. If you do not do this, you will be guaranteed to fail. Learn to say no to distractions, friends, family, something that makes you want to say, this is my goal. So, my goal is lose 10 kilograms. But if you get distracted, you're basically saying to yourself, so, this is my goal. This happened with it. Learn to say no. It's the most important lesson you will ever know and will learn in your life. What I use and what I've personally learned, it's better to say more no's, to give more no's. So you will looking at so you'll be looking at a ratio of 730, 70% of your answers need to be no. And not be very strictly with that. If you have said 3 times yes in a week, so you say no to a guy that asks you out, no. But if someone says, want to go out, but you know you need to exercise, you need to make that meal in order to lose that body fat, learn to say no. Learn to put yourself above someone. Essentially, it's your life. So if you need to say one time no, it is big of a difference. Of course, if you say it too many times, you will lose those friends. That's obvious. But no, saying no is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's a sign that you control yourself. But saying every time no, you can isolate yourself already. Of course, you can have a party. Of course, you can do a fun game. But you need to know that your goals need to come first above other pleasures. So let me get into point number 5, which is avoid unclear or vague goals. It's like walking in the dark, but not walking blind. You have a plan, you obviously know what you want, but it's the same as I will start running every day. I will start losing weight. But when does your goal end? When do you say to yourself, I've reached this goal? So you need to have a specific end. So I will write it down for you. Some examples what are bad. So now I've wrote down 2 bad things. I will write the correct thing. So to put this in perspective for you, I run every day. But running, you can say I run every day. You can do like 10 meters. What is that? What is the kind of goal? I read a book every day. You can put this actually under unrealistic, but you read a book every day, but when does your goal end? What is your goal for that day, for that year? A book every day, it's obviously unrealistic. But if you change this to I read a book every month, that's a realistic goal. It's a concrete goal. It's not fake. It's not unrealistic. And it's an achievable goal. If you do not put too many goals, obviously, I forgot to say that. It is dependent on how big your goals are, what your timeline is. But stick to 4 to 5 yearly goals. And the better. Underestimate yourself. Put goals that are just like, actually, I've done that. I've done my 2025 goals. One of which was run 10 kilometers without taking a break. It was one of my goals. I do not have my book here where I wrote it in. It was one of my goals. I achieved that on the 1st of February. Maybe I will do 15 kilometers by the end of the year. But it's better to underestimate yourself and to do better at the end than to overestimate yourself. But to get back to my point, I run 5 kilometers every day. It's concrete. It's you know what your goals are. I read 10 pages every day. It's concrete, it's not fake, you're not walking in the dark. You have a concrete plan and it's realistic. So with that, it checks off all the previous set messages, previous set bullet points that you need to continue doing. So let me get to the sixth point. Reward yourself if you accomplish something or a checkpoint. Chasing after a goal does not need to be a burden. Of course, there are obstacles you're going to face. There are times when you think, I quit. But if you give yourself a reward, let's say want to be better at writing in Spanish. Let's say that. You want to be better at writing in Spanish. So the first lesson you take, you've done absolutely horrible. But your goal is, by the end of the year, you want to write normal Spanish. Normal Spanish. Not perfectly, but not just normal Spanish. So you took your first lesson at the 1st of January, and let's say it's May 1st. You've made some progress. Reward yourself for doing that. It's a checkpoint that you've accomplished. So if you have your whole map, this is your whole, actually, let me draw it out for you again. So you go to these stages. You start here. This is your beginning point. Then you go to, you get a bit better. And then you're at a point, you know this, you will never forget it. You know the type of Spanish, how you write it, how you formulate it. And then you have a few points. And then you again reach a checkpoint. Reach a point, reward yourself for that. Burden away. It keeps chasing after your goal feel like a journey. And when you look back, so if you're here, when you look back, you say, it was not the easiest, but I've done it. You can say it with a smile. You can be happy about it that you've done it. That's what it needs to be. Reward yourself. That's the important part. Reward yourself for doing that. But it's the same with weight loss. If you've lost 3 kilograms of the 10 that you need to lose, give yourself that unhealthy snack for a time. Reward yourself for the progress that you have made. And then, only then, it keeps your motivation and discipline high. And it stops you from procrastinating. Eventually, I've heard a quote. And it's a quote that if you think for it for about 10 minutes, it really hits. Just if you want to take this seriously, which again, I know you will, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video. And it goes like this. The only enemy between you and your goals is yourself. Your own actions define if you reach that goal or if you will stay behind. That's the biggest lesson you can learn. Actually, your biggest enemy is yourself. It's your mind. And if you put your mind to the right task, to the right direction, you will succeed. That's the beauty of it. You won't have that lack of motivation. You won't have that feeling of procrastination. You won't have the feeling of pressure of even doing it. You won't even think about it. And it's just autopilot doing it. When starting this channel and I started doing my schedule for content, it is so much. But my mind is set to when I come home from work, I need to do it. I need to make that video. I need to edit it. I need to make sure that video will be online on the right time. My mind is now with this, with making content for you, doing it for you. That's where my mind is now. And it's all through this. I reward myself sometimes when I've done crazy amount of work. And I say, relax. That's how you will reach it. So let me get into the last point, which is never let anyone mock you for your goals. Your goals are your goals. It's what you think is the best to better yourself, to become a better man or woman. This should never be affected by someone else. Your whole goal should not be affected by someone else. If you say, I'm going to lose 20 kilograms and I want to be skinny, you chase after that. If someone laughs at you for, girl, what are you going to think? Do not be affected by them. It's your goal, your mission that you need to accomplish. So please do not let anyone say what you can and what you can't do, because your goal is your goal only. It's linked to you. It's not linked to me, to your goal. If your goal is as crazy as possible, which again, please do not do it. But if your goal is like, I want to be the biggest OnlyFans creator, I'm not the one who will say, are you dumb to do it? It's what you want. And that is your goal. So do not let anyone say what your goal needs to be or how you need to do it. So to round off this video, what do you need to go in order to set realistic goals? Set not too many goals. Do not set too many goals. Keep it under 5. 5 is the max. You can always add a goal, but otherwise it will overwhelm you. Just do not set too many. Second, set realistic goals. You have my example here, which is I read a book every day. It's unrealistic. I read 10 pages. That's realistic. So keep setting realistic things. And if you do not know what is realistic, ask someone else who you trust. Or ask ChatGPT or any AI bot. They will say, oh, it's realistic or not. Do not be afraid to ask for help sometimes. Make an action plan. How are you going to lose that weight? How are you going to make that money? How are you going to afford that house? There are questions that need to go off in your mind, and that those need to be answered with a concrete plan. How are you going to do that? Learn to say no. It's obvious. Just avoid you getting too much distracted. Avoid unclear or vague goals. So make clear goals, concrete goals that are not just I run every day. I'm going to run every day. That's walking in the dark. Keep it concrete. I run 5 kilometers every day. I'm going to run 5 kilometers every day. Reward yourself. I've said it. Just give yourself a feeling that you're doing good, that you're on the right track. That's more importantly than reaching your goal, which sounds counterintuitive, but it's true if you think about it. Because you will reach your goal eventually. You will come to here, to the end. But you need to do every step before in order to reach that goal. So if you reward yourself for every step that you make, that goal will be easier. And never let anyone mock you or say what you need to do for your goals or how your goals should be. It's your goal. Your goal, you are the person. Not me, not your neighbor, not your friends, family, or any relative known. It's your goal. It's you, essentially. Your progression. You want to do that, then do it. So, that is my 7-step action plan. And how to set goals and how to reach those goals. And if you follow that plan, you will reach them. Only if you put in the work. If you say halfway, I'm going to quit, this plan isn't a motivation. It takes discipline. A need to do the work. You know you hate it as if you love it. Do the work when you need to do it. And make sure you do the work every time. Because then that goal will be reached within your timeline. So with that, I hope you've learned, and I hope to see you in my next video.